In the bustling heart of Lagos, where the streets buzzed with the music of commerce and the scent of grilled suya danced through the air, lived a man named Achior. Achior was known far and wide for his sharp tongue, his charming smile, and most of all, his knack for manipulating the truth to suit his desires. If a guest lies to the host, the truth awaits him at the doorstep. Achior's stall in Balogan Market was no ordinary one. He sold gold that was not gold, silk that was more thread than fabric, and oils so diluted they hardly held scent. But his words were gold itself. He was a master at twisting lies into beautiful tapestries of truth. His voice could calm a roaring storm, and his smile could thaw the iciest heart. And for a while his deceitful ways seemed like a wise man's cunning. Money flowed like the streams of Oshun, and Achior's life sparkled with wealth and pleasure. His modest shop grew into a large store. His old rickety house was replaced by a fine mansion painted the color of fresh palm wine. Oh, but greed is a beast with an endless appetite, and Achior fed it hungrily. One sweltering afternoon, as Achior closed his shop early to avoid the worst of the sun's wrath, he overheard a conversation between two merchants as they walked past his store. "Have you heard of Chief Barrior's feast?" the first merchant said, his voice heavy with excitement. "Ah, who hasn't?" the other replied. "They say he's inviting only the most prosperous and influential traders in Lagos. Whoever impresses him will surely be set for life. Contracts, partnerships, doors wide open." Achior's ears stood at attention. Chief Barrior was no ordinary man. His wealth and influence stretched far beyond the busy streets of Lagos, and his blessings were like rain to a parched field. Achior's mind raced. An opportunity like this was not to be missed. But to earn Chief Barrior's favor, he needed to impress him, and not just a little. He needed to appear as the wealthiest, most generous trader in all of Lagos. The preparations began. Achior spared no expense, buying the finest agbada woven from imported damask, dyed the deepest shades of indigo and gold. His cap was embroidered with patterns that glittered like stars against a night sky. His sandals were crafted from rare leather that made a whispering sound with each step. But appearance was only part of his plan. Achior hired men to pose as his servants. 8 strong men, each carrying what appeared to be heavy boxes of gifts, followed him wherever he went. And of course, he borrowed a horse-drawn carriage from a man he had cheated not long ago. Achior was confident the man would not dare refuse. As the night of the feast arrived, Achior rode to Chief Barrior's mansion like a king making his grand entrance. His hired men carried the boxes with great effort, groaning as if they held treasures beyond measure. Achior's entrance caused quite a stir. The guests whispered, some in admiration, others in envy, and Chief Barrior himself was intrigued. "My good man," Chief Barrior said, his eyes twinkling with curiosity, "you have arrived with quite a spectacle. May I ask what treasures you have brought to share?" Achior smiled, his lips spreading wide like the crocodile's jaws. "Ah, Chief Barrior, the greatest man in all of Lagos. I could not come empty-handed. I have brought you the rarest gemstone, said to be blessed by the spirits of wealth and fortune." He presented a beautifully carved box, its exterior polished to perfection. When Chief Barrior opened it, he beheld a shimmering stone, the size of a small egg, gleaming with hues of gold and emerald. This is quite the gift," Chief Barrior said, nodding approvingly. "I am pleased." And with those words, Achior's plan began to unfold. His charm and apparent wealth earned him a place of honor beside Chief Barrior throughout the evening. They laughed, shared stories, and spoke of future collaborations. Achior could already see his fortune growing tenfold. Days turned to weeks, and Ahior's life seemed to swell with prosperity. His name was mentioned in esteemed circles, traders flocked to his store, and everyone desired to do business with the man Chief Baryor had taken under his wing. But deceit is like planting poison and hoping for a harvest of riches. One fateful morning, Ahior was summoned to Chief Baryor's mansion. It was sudden and unexpected. Yet Ahior's arrogance wrapped itself around him like a second skin. After all, he was now a man of high standing, wasn't he? When he arrived, he was ushered into the grand hall, where not only Chief Baryor sat, but also several traders and merchants who stared at him with eyes like blades. "Ahior," Chief Baryor began, his voice colder than the Harmattan wind. "Do you remember the gemstone you gifted me?" "Ah, yes, of course, Chief Baryor," Ahior replied, his voice smooth but his hands trembling. "A rare stone indeed." "Rare?" Chief Baryor's lips twitched with anger. "Yes, rare for its worthlessness, a mere piece of painted glass." The hall erupted in murmurs. Ahior's heart dropped to his stomach. "You have built your reputation on deceit, Ahior," Chief Baryor continued. "And now the truth has been revealed. A lie can last for years, but one day the truth will be revealed." Ahior's shoulders slumped, sweat pouring down his back like the heavy rains of July. But Chief Baryor's words did not stop. "Now your name is tarnished. Your reputation is nothing but ash, and just as you sought to deceive others, so too shall you be deceived by life itself." Ahior's legs felt weak, his chest tightening like a drum stretched too tight. The eyes of the merchants bore into him, each gaze heavy with scorn and disgust. Chief Baryor's voice, however, remained calm, too calm, like the stillness before a storm. "Ahior," Chief Baryor continued, "the world speaks with both mouth and silence. Your reputation has been built on falsehood, and now that truth has revealed itself, there is nothing left but disgrace. If one is sent on a truthful errand, one must not return with falsehood." Ahior fell to his knees, his voice quivering. "Please, Chief Baryor, I meant no harm. It was only business. Forgive me. Forgive you." Chief Baryor's brows furrowed. "You do not understand the weight of your actions. Your lies were not only to me, but to everyone who trusted you. You traded truth for profit, not caring about the lives you affected." Murmurs of agreement rose from the crowd. The merchants nodded their heads, their expressions stern. One of the merchants, an elder named Baba Aremu, shook his head slowly. "Ahior, did you not learn that wrongdoing eventually destroys the wrongdoer? You have sown deception, and now you must reap the harvest of shame. Your name will carry the weight of your deceit," Chief Baryor added. "This market you have thrived in will turn its back on you, for a man without honor is like a house built on sand. It cannot stand the rain." The gathering dispersed, leaving Ahior to walk the lonely path back to his mansion. But even his home felt cold, stripped of the warmth that only a clear conscience could provide. Days passed, and the news of Ahior's disgrace spread faster than wildfire. Customers stopped visiting his shop. Business partners withdrew their offers. The very servants he had hired to carry his false treasures abandoned him. And the mansion he had built with lies soon became a burden he could no longer afford. But the true misery of Ahior's fate was not in poverty alone. It was in the whispers that followed him wherever he went. Children pointed and giggled, old women shook their heads with pity and scorn, and fellow traders looked away whenever he passed by. Bad news travels far and fast. Ahior tried to salvage what remained of his business, but no one would trade with him. Even those he had once called friends turned their backs. His words, once sweet as honey, now tasted of bile even to himself. But the true lesson was yet to be learned. For in his desperation, Ahior found himself in the very position of those he had once cheated, forced to buy goods on credit, only to be rejected, forced to beg for opportunities that never came. One evening, as Ahior wandered the empty streets of Lagos, his feet dragging along the dusty ground, he found himself by the edge of the market square. The sun had begun its descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. He sat on a broken stool, his clothes tattered and his face gaunt. But as he stared at the ground, lost in his misery, an old woman approached him. "Ahior, is that you?" Her voice was gentle but curious. He looked up, his eyes dull and lifeless. "Yes, Mama, it is me." Gratitude follows war. You are still alive, and that is something to be grateful for. Ahior managed a weak smile. The woman's kindness was like cool water on parched lips. "I have lost everything, Mama," he admitted. "My wealth, my reputation, everything." She nodded slowly. "A person whose character is his wealth will never be poor. You traded your honor for riches, and riches are like smoke. They cannot be held for long." Ahior bowed his head. "I was foolish. I thought wealth was everything, but I see now that a good name is worth more than all the gold in the world." "True words," the woman replied, "but words alone will not cleanse your name. It is through your actions that you must rebuild what you have destroyed. Go, Ahior, find those you have wronged and make amends. Let humility be your new wealth." And so Ahior took the woman's words to heart. From that day, he dedicated himself to mending the bridges he had burned. He returned to the market, not as a trader, but as a laborer, carrying loads, sweeping stalls, performing menial tasks for those he had once deceived. He worked day and night, his hands growing calloused and his back bent from labor. But his heart grew lighter with each passing day. For every task he completed, every wrong he righted, was a step toward redemption. Years passed, and Ahior's name began to change. His reputation for humility and honesty spread slowly but surely. The man who once built his fortune on lies had now built a life on truth. And one day, when Ahior least expected it, Chief Barrior called for him once more. "I have watched you, Ahior," Chief Barrior said, his voice carrying both warmth and respect. "And I have seen how you have changed. We do not reject a person who has sincerely repented." Ahior bowed his head, tears glistening in his eyes. "Thank you, Chief Barrior. Your words are more precious than gold." From that day on, Ahior's life took a new path. His wealth was no longer measured by coins and goods, but by integrity and goodwill. He had learned that the true riches of life could only be earned through truth and kindness.